Alright, hello everybody here watching. This is Gorilla Workshop. I may or may not sound as you expected. That is going to be something new, because usually I just use text for tutorials. But this time I'm going to accompany text with audio, just to make it a bit easier for people to follow. So, first thing to worry about is the reference picture. Reference picture is going to be extremely important, because it's very hard to create something in 3D without any reference pictures. Reference pictures are easy to come by. Google, DeviantArt. Personally, I like to use Scott Hartman primarily when doing extant creatures, because Scott Hartman tends to make very easy to comprehend skeletals. There's not any extra stuff there, just the skeletal itself. If you can't find one there, DeviantArt will have your back. There's a lot of people on DeviantArt that also make skeletals. And if you heard sniffing, I'm sorry. My cat Braxton came over by the microphone. But for fictional creatures, you want to make concept art. I did this with Frogrex, and it's extremely helpful. You want to try to make a flat profile view, which you'd call an orthographic view. It's pretty much something without perspective, completely flat, just the side of the animal. If you also make the top view, the dorsal view, it's going to be extremely useful, because that will give you both the top and the side view, which will allow you to make an extremely accurate model to what you're trying to create. Next, with the base mesh. So I start with the profile view because that's what my reference has. I don't have the reference for the top-down view. So that I'm just doing by eye. Starting with the profile view, I use Shift-E when I'm adding extra length to the sides or anything like that. When I'm drawing out new mesh, that's Shift-E, that's the extrude tool. Now, for cutting things, when I go with the mouse and I'm making new lines and new vertices, that's K you would use for the knife tool. And if you tap C while using the knife tool, it'll make it cut through, which allows you to cut on both sides of the model instead of just one. There's also the, I don't know if it's the split or center cut or what it's called. I don't know the keybind for it because I only use it from the toolbar. But that one cuts down the middle. You'll see when it creates a big yellow line all across the model. That one's extremely useful as well. Now, I personally do a lot of things by hand. As you can see in the video, I had the subdivide modifier on. That did not work out, mainly because I try to do stuff by hand. I didn't like what it was doing with the model, so I got rid of it and just did it all on my own. That's generally what I would suggest, because leaving stuff up to procedural generation tends to have bad results. It's not that you can't, but I would definitely advise against it, at least starting out, before you get used to what they do with the models and how they do that with the models. Now, I got the idea for using this subdivision modifier by watching a video, which is actually a very good video in the modding channel, someone making, I believe it was Giganotosaurus, and they used a subdivision modifier. They utilized it very well, but I was not able to manage to use it for my own purposes. And I think that's a great example of how different workflows work, how different people use different things in different ways. It didn't work for me, but it worked perfectly well for the person creating their model, which is amazing. Everyone just do what works for you. Don't worry about copying a video. Do what's most comfortable. The way I'd suggest learning what is comfortable is by editing models. Personally, I learned how to use Blender and how to create models by making model edits. I made mutations from Primal Carnage for quite a while before I started making my own stuff. Even still, I make model edits just for fun. I used to make model edits a while ago for Path of Titans. I've still been learning a lot. It's a lot of taking time. Once you learn how to use the tools, you get very set in using them in particular ways, and watching others can show you new ways to use tools, which is always extremely useful. And then lastly is the limbs. You can see on this guy, I chose the elephant bird specifically because it doesn't have arms, it doesn't have wings, it's just got legs, which makes it very easy to model. Nice, simple thing for this tutorial. Now, I suggest doing limbs separately. Model them separately so if anything happens, you can go ahead and delete it and not have to worry about the base mesh. Because what ends up happening a lot is I accidentally mess up the base mesh, or I don't connect it in a way that looks good, or any number of issues. So what I'd suggest, just make them separate. Now for toes, they aren't too complex. Same with fingers. Generally what I do, just make some slots for them, make little cuts so that there's little gaps between where the toes or the fingers will be, and extrude them out, and add detail from there. What I even do in this video is make copies, slightly alter them or flip them, and then boom, even more. All done. Super easy. Muscles are another thing that is very difficult to get looking good. It does depend on the animal and how much you want to work on it and stuff. You can make muscles look extremely good. I just go with the sort of generic basic shape for this, and it works. So that's what I'm doing for that. This was very simple, very quick video, but that is my workflow for making a model. You can see by the end of the video here, there's a little shading issue with the toes, which I fixed by going in modeling, doing Control A to select everything, and doing Shift N, which is to recalculate the normals. So that is that for this model. I will have the download available in my Discord. So if you want to pop in the Discord, you can go ahead, take the model, use it for whatever. But that is that. I hope this was helpful. This was Gorilla Workshop, and have a good day.